Hi, everybody. This is Mark. It's right on the hour. I see a lot of you have already filed in. Big Fed day here. We'll have a good discussion today. I'm keeping an eye on some of these positions here. I don't like the way this Australian yen is behaving here, and we've got two positions on. So I would say go ahead and get out of the Australian dollar yen trades right now. I don't like the way they're behaving, and I'm clicking out of these trades as we speak. If you announce yourself, again, it takes, yeah, I see the gold, Trent. I was erring on the side of caution, and it's the one that's really going. It's the one that I really had a solid feel about all week. And I had a lot of mixed feelings, but again, with these Fed announcements, they can go either way, and I just wanted to err on the side of caution, and now it's going very favorably, in the direction we've been talking about all week. So this is the difficulty as a trader, and then also as a difficulty for me disseminating signals to the public. I've got two hats here. So I'm trying to, balance risk with reward, and these Fed announcements always give you, pretty good knee jerk one way or another. So I'll just give it another minute or two for everyone to, get here. Hi, Liz. Hi, George, Trent, Don. If you want to announce yourself on the chat, I'm always 30-40 seconds behind, so I don't see it as quick as you might type it in there. So I don't like the price behavior of this Australian dollar Japanese yen. I got out very quickly at around the 83.40 area, about a break even on the second position. So I would advise you guys getting out of that long position right now. Probably also the Australian is not following through here. So I would, get rid of these positions for now, although, this volatility, it could be all over the place. But certainly the Australian yen, I have some mixed givings about the yen trade. And it could go either way. I could make a case for it going either way. So if you're want to book some profits, we had two positions that looked really good this morning. I sent out a video saying take partial profits there. Hopefully some of you took a little bit off the table when the odd yen was about 70 higher. So it's bouncing around. It may want to find some support here, and and then maybe go back up. So, again, this is the difficulty trading around, big Fed announced FOMC meeting days. So most news I trade around, but the FOMC meetings, usually have some heavy gyrations associated with them. And I'm always conflicted whether we should do a signal or not, because notwithstanding, Sergey asked about odd USD. I'm weighing that right now. It certainly looks like it's coming off. We'd probably have to wait till it close. I would probably hold off on liquidating that, although it's not looking that friendly right now. Yeah, I would get out of odd USD also. Just, let's err on the side of caution. Clean it off the, the table here. If we reverse back up, we'll take a look at it again. So yeah, the markets have coming, just trading all over the place now. And the one currency that I thought was weaker is now gone favorable, which is the euro. So there you go. So anyhow, let's get started. The Fed, basically came out with the announcement. Nothing new. Didn't, announce any, rate hike, which nobody was expecting. I think people were looking for indications of a potential rate hike in March, and I don't think they quite, gave an indication there. They, still said that they're very data dependent. They're looking at growth, inflation, China, the markets, and so pretty ambivalent, which was expected. And in light of that, we're looking at the dollar, which has actually gone a little bit stronger in terms of the dollar index. But that's not necessarily a reflection of everything. We see the euro now going stronger. Um, again, it found some support at the bottom of this 108 area. It's always been my feeling that we're probably going to go over 111 in the euro. I think we'll break the upper level of this trading range and probably go, stronger in the euro to this 111 area. So right now, just playing in this band, and that right now the euro looks, somewhat stronger today, and going stronger there. Zavar said, should we pull the pending Australian dollar, US dollar limit order? It's a good question. Yeah, I think right now, just, let's pull out and reassess tonight. So yeah, that's actually a good question. Pull off your limit order in the Australian dollar, US dollar. So right now we're just cleaning the slates, and hopefully you got out of some positions higher up today, and should be slightly in the plus. Let's just go one by one. The Canadian dollar has supported right, the Australian dollar versus Canadian dollar, sorry, supported right in this 98.5 area. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if this is going to turn into a double top or not, but nothing going on constructive there for me today. Australian Swiss went stronger, and now we're looking at this key reversal. But of course, 2 hours from now, could be a very different story. So the markets are bouncing around quite a bit. So it's hard to be definitive about anything, but if we have this key reversal here, it's something to take a look at, although it probably wouldn't open up a trade for me in the Australian Swiss. Australian yen, we kind of went over 84, bounced down now. And, as I indicated yesterday, when you have a wall like this, you don't just, go up, immediately. So, this, could require some backing and filling. I wouldn't surprise to see this thing, start maybe going back up, close in the middle, whatnot. We'll have to see how it closes. Right now, it looks like it caught a little bit of support here. And so it still looks positive, but we could just back and fill, and that wouldn't necessarily be negative. We're just building away from this thing in order to turn this, this around, and it may not happen in a hurry. We did have a thrust out of here very quickly, and now it's probably not surprising that we had this thing come back. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing, close in the middle or higher, and still look positive for the Australian yen. So we'll have to take a look at how all these things close in a couple hours. Could be a very different story. The Australian versus the certainly the New Zealand yen has been very positive and continues to suggest that the Australian will be, a good currency on the long side going forward. But a lot of gyrations today, obviously. We came off the high, and again, we had this huge wall. Even though I saw this, kind of inverted head and shoulders, we broke the neckline. Consistent with how markets behave, they typically break the neckline here and then come back under here, and then we could just play around here, put some, more build out action. As this thing, looks like it may turn around. Again, one of the things I'm looking at in this Australian is this weekly chart. And it's a little bit premature, but we've got this kind of reverse wedge with this, support here. And so if we start trading back up to the 73 area to this wedge line, this could be the makings of, a big support in, the Australian dollar. So I'm not abandoning ship right now. This is just flushing out everybody, and we'll have to see how it closes. And right now I'm just erring on the side of caution, but I still feel mildly positive, consistent with my analysis yesterday. Again, this is a steep wall. It's going to take a lot of price action back and forth to build away from this thing so that we can perhaps turn this higher over time. So this price action is not surprising, and probably should have put a little closer take profit in hindsight. So that's the Australian dollar, US dollar, CAD yen. All these yen trades obviously went higher today, but you've had this steep decline, and Rome wasn't built in a day. So even if you're going to go up, it's not going to happen right away. You're going to get this backing and filling and a lot of thrashing about, and this is something that we've been talking about all week, that the markets are in a difficult stage. If you don't catch them, put your take profit in the right place, and you're not staring at your screen all day, it's kind of difficult to kind of catch these breakouts and breakbacks. It comes right back in your face. So tough environment right now. We're starting to see some positive things in the Swiss franc versus the yen. We started noticing this reversal a couple of weeks ago, started seeing this one here. Here's a big one, and today we have another one. So we have all these reversals suggesting that we're going to, by the way, this was kind of the trade by trade analysis that I did that caught up with all the trades through last night. And this was when the odd yen pairs were at a different level. So this is totals probably quite a bit higher than where it is now, but I'm sure we're still about 850 to 900 pips higher for the month, notwithstanding all this volatility and nonsense. And we had a pretty bad week here, where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades in a row, losers. Pretty discouraging. But then, when you put it all together, this basically reflects where we close out the gold trade anyways. So notwithstanding some of these odd yen trades, which probably about 60 pips lower than where you could have gotten out now. Anyhow, that's kind of the total for January. We're still well ahead if you took every trade thus far. So let me just get out of this and take a look at Swiss yen. Again, I still, mildly positive these yen pairs. You got a lot of volatility now, and maybe got you out of that odd yen prematurely also. So I fully expect to see some retracement back up to this area in the Australian. So we have this kind of symmetrical thing, and we're right at the bottom, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this where we get to the opposite side of the band about 200-300 pips from now, but we'll have to see. Actually, the euro yen looked a lot better. We talked about this. It was actually one of the trades that we got stopped out last week. And sorry about this. So the euro yen jumping around here was a trade that we got stopped out of last week. I was noticing this huge key reversal right in here, and this double bottom almost. We had this kind of inside day bar. We had a couple. We had some false breakouts while it played around here. Had to get past this kind of obstruction bar, if you will. So it needed to build away, and the more it built out, the more pop we got. And now it looks like we could get a thrust to the upper end here around the 132 area. So we could be still another big move in the euro yen to come, as it looks like it put a double bottom in here right at this descending downward trend line. And this is something I alerted to last week, and unfortunately we got stopped out, and now it's on its way. So we'll have to see. This thing on any pullback could be a good buy here. Going one at a time here. Euro Australian. again, it's just a lot of noise in this area, back and forth. And, this chart is just very unconventional. Just looking at this thing, there's patterns all over the place. It's neither an uptrend or downtrend or a sideways market. It's just very, very difficult. And you have to be very opportunistic. And that's why we kind of stayed away, even though we saw this key reversal. I thought you might get a lower penetration here, but then find some support, right here. So we do have, the looks of a Head and Shoulders, but kind of have to see how this one plays out. I could make a case for this going up or down right now, and it's kind of in the middle of the tennis court. So nothing for the moment in Euro AUD. Euro CAD, same story here. We're going to have an inside day bar, and I don't. The thing is, if I was looking to play this up, so just share some thinking here. Again, these things are just so in the middle. You could make a case either way. That's why you need to have a pretty high-end signal here. So, we have an inside day bar here, and certainly could see this thing, moving, higher into this white space, even if we are going to fail after that, put up a double top up there or whatnot. The thing why I wouldn't want to get long here is that we have nothing at the bottom. These bars close so badly, here and here, where, if I saw something at the bottom like this, it would give me much more confidence in buying this, at a support area. But absent that, I think you could get a false breakout higher and then a still pull down lower. And frankly, I want to get short under these levels here. So anything under today's inside day bar, I would look at as an opportunity to get short. And I could be wrong. I could miss out on, a nice move here. But, I just have no confidence getting long at this stage. So I'm going to stay out of Euro CAD for the moment. Moving down the ladder here, Euro Swiss, probably breaking out higher. It's a nice uptrend, and it's been a thrashing around market. Now we're breaking the new highs, and certainly, we may want to take a look at this at another time, but for right now, not really. Euro pound, that kind of stayed away from this. Again, it needs some kind of build away, and frankly, it's looking stronger now in a primary uptrend. So we did have a reversal up here. We did fall away, but now we're still getting some price action consistent with an uptrend. So we may fill up this white space before we get another pocket of resistance, and I'll just have to see what the price behavior looks there. And so, nothing for me in the Euro pound at the moment. Euro yen, we talked about. Euro New Zealand. Again, we talked about this a couple days ago. I thought this would continue higher, and I kind of like this action now. So we have a couple of things that I look for. First off, we have an underlying pattern here. Let me just change the color. That indicates that this, has a double bottom. We have the neckline that came in right around these prices. We had a snap back to the neckline, and now we've seen some price behavior at the support area. I didn't quite want to take this trade here, but here we have now what I call an outside key reversal higher. We took out both the low and the high, closing at the high end of the bar in what looks like we have a bottom here. So the market, to my mind, has indicated that there's an underlying pattern here that is, in a more bullish phase, and I would be inclined to take this trade tonight on a buy stop there, with a sell stop, strategically under the close somewhere there. So kind of like the euro versus the New Zealand dollar, the euro is now surprisingly moving stronger versus most of these other currency pairs. So Yeah, I think this looks like it would be something consistent with what I'm looking at, and I'd have to put that on the short list for tonight's trade. So let's keep moving through and revisit it and see what this looks like in a few minutes. Euro USD we talked about, it's in this range, but I get a sneaky feeling that you're going to see this thing incrementally going higher over time. Pound odd, again, I thought this was a declining market. We penetrated these lows now, and it still looks very heavy, although probably nothing that I'd want to mess with right now. But again, these bars right here were indicating that this thing was going to probably look heavy and roll lower. Even though we had some support up here, it eventually did roll. So we're going to come into a support probably somewhere, down here if you connect this downtrend line, but nothing that I want to play with right now in pound Australian. Pound Canadian, we talked about this last night. I figured, if we snap back under here, we would get some pressure, but then we've got to clean through all this price history here, which has created some support. So it's pretty a messy chart here, tough to ascertain the risk reward in pound CAD, and that's kind of why I've taken step away from this, even though I've missed some pretty nice moves that have occurred here. But again, you just never know how far they're going to extend before again they snap back in your face here. And so it's a pretty much of a guessing game and a lot of uncertainty in this pair, even though it looks pretty heavy for now. Pound Swiss, we had this head and shoulder, double top head and shoulders. It rolled out of it. We had this break above here. Now we have an inside day bar, which to me suggests this is going to continue, going down. That a break above under here, we're probably going to fill some white space here. And if this were going to support, this would probably have to do some work lower in order to turn this around, even if it were inclined to turn around. So, that would be a valid trade for me. Excuse me, I could see this, you do have some, price history to the left here, and you could get a lot of choppiness as it tries to clear this, but, I may want to see one or two more bars, building away from this thing, which may be a mistake because this thing, could make a shot lower, but I'm going to just put that on the bottom of a short list for now. But I think that would be a valid trade to go short. So we had a technical formation that's suggested this downtrend. We've had a kind of a short covering rally, and now I would expect a continuation. And frankly, the more I look at this, I think there's a valid trade to be had here in pound versus Swiss franc on the short side. Pound yen, I took a couple of shots at this on the upside and made some money. I bought into this weakness last night, but now it's failing again, and that's not a good sign for me. So probably also a good proxy on these yen trades, which I want to look at in a much closer vantage point in a minute. So pound yen, to me, if it closed here, would again, just like pound Swiss, suggest a continuation lower. So the major trend is down. This is a short covering rally. Even if we were going to turn this thing up, to my mind, it would have to come back, test these lows, do a retest, and then we could look at maybe a double bottom here for something that would turn this around. But like I said, these markets just don't turn from these major bear things to just turning straight up against it. So whether this is just a build away from this to kind of go higher, or we now have a retest lower, which I'm inclined to think of the way that if it closes here. So again, it's a big distance from the close, and frankly, because of the action with the Fed, I'm going to wait probably till a later close to get a definitive handle on these markets, to get a little bit more confidence in what I'm looking at for any trade after the Fed announcement today. So I know some of you are in different time zones and you get a little impatient about the email, and when I don't send out emails like I did last night, I just wanted to wait to see where we could get in, wait for the market to settle ahead of these announcements. I thought I missed the Australian dollar because we had a CPI report, and I was a little upset about that, but it did pull back. We got a chance to get the odd yen lower. And so I know that you're frustrated sometimes, but you know, it's not laziness on my part. I'm just waiting for, you know, certain market action, you know, to give me a higher level of confidence before I send out trades. And you know, some of you, you know, in later time zones, you know, have to miss that. Then, you know, that's just probably, unfortunately, the way it has to be. But you can't force these trades, and I have to see where they're going to settle in light of this volatility. So probably want to wait for the later close, you know, after, you know, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight to give me a higher sense of where these things want to settle. But based on what this is looking like right now, I could see a short trade, you know, with this inside day bar and, you know, a move lower in the pound yen from now, just as a continuation of this bear move. So the you know, it is a bear trend, and you know, the primary weight is still on the downside, and it's up to the bulls to, you know, show different. And right now it doesn't look that way. Pound New Zealand, kind of a surprise here, but you know, market that's still thrashing around. We've got this reversal. Again, it may be a different story when we wait 3-4 hours from now, so we'll have to see there. But there's wouldn't be really a signal. This, you know, is somewhat of a double top area. I don't like this overhang. I still think this is a dominant bar. We'd have to clear that from, you know, this neckline here for me to, you know, see that this is a double bottom in this market. You know, I don't like these bars here, which doesn't suggest a turnaround. So this is just a, you know, kind of a trading range market that's just going back and forth and hitting both sides every day that I don't really want to be a part of. Pound US, it's the same story as pound yen. We had some reversals here, and even if we, you know, are going to turn this around, we'll probably need another retest of the lows in the pound. So stay out. I'm not even going to go short here. There's just too much noise going on in here, and you know, that wouldn't be interesting. Where you see the pound yen has built up more energy than the pound dollar because you had a bigger move off the lows. You've had this more of this energy building, you know, so that if this is going to turn lower, there's kind of a snapback to then a rubber band effect to shoot this thing lower. So I would favor the pound yen versus the pound US dollar as a short. And you know, hopefully you guys can see that. And if you have any questions, please put that in the chat box. Let's just keep on with the currency pairs before we look at the stock markets. New Zealand, Canadian, kind of confirmed this downward trajectory. This looks like it is a double top now. Try to catch it a couple times. We got some noise, you know, had this reversal here, and so it's been grudgingly taking us lower. And so this is more and more looking like this top is confirmed, and we'll have to, you know, look at a way to get short the New Zealand dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Yeah, it looks like that's on its way. But yeah, we've got this triple top now on a weekly basis. We have triple top on a monthly basis. So we've got a lot of elements now telling us that New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar is weak. And so, you know, the temptation for me is, you know, what do I do here? You know, do I just get short? This isn't an insurance day bar, you know, with an arbitrary, you know, stop loss somewhere under here. And I think, you know, again, I always have to come back to the discipline of my methodology and wait for, you know, a momentum bar or a key, you know, key reversal bar where, you know, we build up some momentum. So my sense is that, you know, we built up a significant, you know, uptrend here. We're probably not going to fall right away, although this could really surprise me. So hopefully, even if it breaks lower, you could get a key reversal higher, and it builds out and continues to build out, and we get another shot and another look here. And if we don't, that, that's a little bit frustrating. So for some of you who want to take a shot here, this looks like it's a very heavy market at the moment and look like it could keep coming off. So, we'll have to see how it closes, but this could be certainly worth a shot, and we certainly could get, a 50, 60 pip move here tomorrow, even if this thing were to turn around. So you guys might put that on your scratch pad if I don't send it out tonight as a short trade. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. But I'm going to stay out of it and stick with my discipline. These yen trades are all reversing now, which suggests that, the way I was looking at the dollar yen initially may be the way to go. So we get this huge reversals. You've got 3 reversals here, 1, 2, 3. So this is New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen daily chart, and this is starting to tell me that the dollar yen, which we looked at, is that head and shoulders double top, may still be in place here. We got a head fake at the 116 area, and now it looks like it could be rolling again. So this looks pretty fertile tonight for another shot to the downside. I did put out an article about a week ago choosing the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen as an optimum pair to go down quite a bit from here. And I thought, all this stuff looked like I may be wrong, but here are these reversal bars. Again, they point in the direction they want to go. We got short here, got stopped out because we saw this double top, and we just had to do one more thrust up into this resistance area, which now looks like it's pretty well established up here. You're getting this resistance area, and this could be the next move. Again, we had to build away from this primary downtrend line to build more energy to fall again to try and cut through some of the support over here. So that's what I look for. I look for, even if the market's declining and I see support, I want to see a snapback like a rubber band, create a coiling effect, create more energy so that when we, take another shot here, we have more energy behind it. So I would be inclined to put a sell stop under today's lows in the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen pair. So that's certainly on the short list, and I imagine all these yen pairs now will be back on the list, looking for them to go lower based on the price action we're looking at today. So again, I thought this might turn around. We have this inverted head and shoulders, and now we get this resistance again. So I reserve the right to be wrong a lot, consistent with the chop and changes in the market. But eventually when we tag it, if I'm right, the small stop loss we took here, which was, I don't know how much it was, 40 pips here, well, might make 400 pips there. So that's just my style. We may take a series of losing trades, which we did last week, just to find the one big one. And this is shaping up for something that I think could be very big, as it fakes out a lot of the market now. And we'll take a closer look at the dollar yen to become a little bit more conclusive about the yen trades. So that certainly looks like it's changing for the worse here. What have we got less? New Zealand dollar, and that's collapsing also. So again, this has been the main trend, this double top. These massive formations typically are the ones when the size of the formation dominates. We need to listen, and I certainly let myself get faked out with some of these reversal bars, and it looks like now we're getting a massive reversal, and that this double top looks like it's still very much in force and effect. And we did get a natural bounce here because you got so much support here. You got some support here. So this was a natural place for it to think. Now it looks like it's coiling, and now it looks like, we're getting another move that could be opening up to the downside. But because you've got so much noise here, you know, I don't know how much, you know, I like it, but this looks detrimental to any more upside in this pair. And I suspect the same for the Australian dollar now, US dollar. So if you guys haven't cleared that off your plates, I would get out of pretty much everything. Let's see, US dollar, Canadian dollar, found some support here. And again, you know, we've had such a prolific uptrend that I don't see this thing just keep on going down away from that. So I would very much naturally expect to get some support here and wouldn't be surprised to see this thing turn back up. So if this thing, you know, turned up and it was a reversal bar, it probably would be a, you know, a good trade on the upside now, because I certainly think even if this thing were to come down, you certainly would get a retest up, you know, above 143, 144 in this area to then kind of fall away and come down. So my suspicion is, you know, we probably keep getting stronger in dollar CAD over the course of this session, and probably in likelihood would close at the upper end, which would give you a positive indicator to go long dollar CAD in tomorrow's session. So I'll take a look at that before I send the trades out tonight. Dollar Swiss kind of have this inside day bar at the top here. Again, this is a very powerful kind of, you know, saucer, if you will. And, you know, just like we had an inside day bar here and then a reversal through it, even though close on the low, you know, I could certainly see the same here. This looks strong. If I try and draw a line, you know, going down against that, it's going to be very hard to take out this price action in one shot. So what doesn't go down must go up. So my thought is that this probably, you know, still, you know, keeps going up here. But you know, I'll stay away from this for now. Dollar yen. This is, you know, the big thing, and kind of it's still holding up here. So it's kind of surprising how it's holding up and the other pairs are selling off. So we're going to again have to really wait for the close in this pair to tell me what the real story is. We could still have some fake outs. You know, we still are holding at the upper levels here, and I can't conclusively say that this thing has turned around. So again, I think that's why I'm gonna, you know, really wait till the close. We could be way different on the close than what we're looking at now. So kind of difficult to make some, you know, conclusions at the moment. But you know, we could have just you know, kind of a consolidation here, and then this thing turns down. So let me make clear again what I'm looking at here. So we do have you know, this ostensibly, you know, bearish double top here, and hang on one second, please. Hey, can you take that off speaker? So we have this head and shoulders here, and we bounce right at the neckline. So, you know, to me, we haven't you know, disavowed this technical formation. I mean, it would take a huge move, probably up to the 124 area, for you to start seeing a busted pattern here. So, you know, this right now could reverse lower. It could do a couple of, you know, little build out bars here. These are a weekly thing before it turned down, you know, build away from this reversal candle. So there's a couple things that I'm watching here very closely to get a definitive indication in this dollar yen. But I think, you know, we still have to look at this pattern very closely, and until this has been busted or violated, to my mind, this is still in place. And so if the, you know, the yen goes stronger and these other pairs start turning weaker, then these pairs are going to start turning down. And kind of going back to the New Zealand dollar yen, which looked very bearish to me, looking at the weekly, when I was, kind of doing my analysis, for a long-term chart, this is what I'm seeing. And we really, not much has changed today. We did have this, huge upward thrust, which kind of looks like a head fake now. So this is again this is the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. This is a weekly chart, and we still have kind of this head and shoulders here. Right shoulder's a little higher, which doesn't matter. With the neckline coming in at or near probably these prices here, you had to, look how symmetrical it is. You broke out of that neckline and then broke exactly to that. And now the old support has become the new resistance. And when you hit that, you came off just as speedily. And now, despite, all the brouhaha today, this week, you're still got a reversal on a weekly into, what looks like a downward market here. So, right now, this is a pervasive pattern on top. You haven't come close to busting it. To me, I would, it would take a move up to about 84, about 800 pips from now for me to reevaluate this on the upside. And then conversely, you have another level of support, pretty close by here at, I'd say, just above the 72, so about 400 pips lower than where we are now. So right now, the weight of this chart is still, to the downside, in my opinion. And, I'd probably have to see even just, this reversal, this weekly reversal taken out, to get to 78 to start suggesting we could be a double bottom down here and it could reverse the other way. So, again, you had this massive key reversal here, which, always creates an element of doubt as to how much follow through you're going to get there. And you didn't get much follow through at all. The next week it followed through just a hair, and now we've kind of failed. And we'll have to see how we finish the week off. But, we'll have to see, is this a double bottom? Does this continue, take out the 78, or do we take out, this thing, which would then open up a path to much lower prices in my mind. So to my mind, until proven otherwise, I have to be looking at this thing as a very, very heavy bearish chart. And is that clear to everyone? So we were looking at the dollar yen. It has not disproven anything. We still have the weight of this. Let's look at the monthly. I don't know if it's going to show us much. Where this doesn't really show you a lot. There's, again, this, when I see a market bounce off a similar price, my suspicion is you're always going to see it again, where you don't have a key reversal. When you bounce here, again, whether it be a weekly or daily, what I like to see, I'll just show you what I'm talking about, since we have this open. I want to see a market move down and then close on the high if it's going to be, going up. And what you have here is a situation where all these candles, kind of, this one closed in the middle, this one closed close to the low, this one's in the middle now. So if this were to close closer to the high, this week, I would have to take a look at it. But right now it's in the middle, and my sense is we could, drift lower by the end of the week here. So when I see a straight line under these lows, my sense is you're always going to get a retest. And so my sense is the yen is still going to go stronger despite the head fake of the last week or so. So I think the yen could actually still be a big opportunity, even though there was some disappointment today. We didn't quite get every piece of it. Dollar we looked at, still going higher. So the US dollar still looks like it's thrusting higher, which should suggest the pound goes lower, and maybe the Australian dollar goes lower, and the New Zealand dollar goes lower. So again, we're going to have to see how this thing closes. There's nothing definitive here, and we still have a pocket of support in the Australian dollar. So again, the close is, very definitive to me. It's hard to make, many conclusions right now while the market is still bouncing around as much as it is. I just want to give you how I analyze the markets and how I, look for, trades once they close to assess some certainty. So again, this is my apologies here. This was really my bad on this one. I was actually looking at some silver trade here, which, gold is a lot, stronger than silver. I saw some, resistance coming in. I kind of, wanted to err on the side of caution, and we got out, early, and now this thing looks like it's putting on the move that we've been talking about all week that could just set the stage for, this going, much higher. Because I think what the Fed is very afraid of is this deflationary environment. They're seeing the collapse in crude oil and all these other precious metals, and they backed off today. And I think the message they want to send is that, hey, we don't want too much more of this deflation, and so I think they would love to see a little bit of a rebound in oil and some of these other things, and gold would certainly go along with it. So, this was baked in the cake way before the Fed, and that's my philosophy, is that no matter what the announcement, the market was telling you beforehand where it was going to go. The news comes out, and then the news should only confirm what you're looking at before. And, I'm sorry I got you guys out of a really good trade here. And now the question is, how do you get back in? And, maybe you just hold your nose and just get back in this thing and, take a risk under here. We did book 210 pips here. We booked 265 pips here. So, over the course of the last month, I've booked about 470 pips in gold. So even if you were to take a small trade, at the market here with a risk under today's lows, you'd probably still be well ahead of the game. And it's probably something that wouldn't be a bad thing to do. So now I don't know how to get back in this thing, because it looks like train's left the station, and it's probably could go a lot higher from here. Stock market has now backed off. I thought that we'd need a little build away from here. We did have this, little reversal bar. I thought we'd need to just build away from, these obstruction bars, which we've now done. We had a reversal yesterday, and now we've had a reversal again. And this looks like, again, it's overall, the stock market looks very heavy to me. I think you're seeing negative earnings, you're seeing deflation, you're seeing a lot of negative stuff. And even if the Fed, gets out of the way, of another interest rate hike, we have so much overhang now that, again, if we start, this is the NASDAQ 100, if we get to the 4,000, neckline, it looks like it'll open up a big move. I think it's a little clearer on the S&P. My thought is, this is a bear market until proven otherwise right now. And again, even if this were to go up, this has been a straight wall down. You don't go straight back up. So we had this reversal bar. Maybe this is a kind of an inside, weekly bar. And then, if we can build away and, maybe turn this higher, but anything under 1800 is going to be a massive problem for this market on a technical basis going forward. Dow probably looks pretty much the same. Really heavy, really ugly stuff going on here. And despite no interest rate hike today or any whiff of it, the market is still weak. And that's, you want to see price action in the face of ostensibly good news, and the price action is continuing negative here. So, and imagine all the, this is the German Bourse, looks horrible. Got this descending thing, you got the double top, you've got this wedge line. So actually, to my mind, this double top hasn't even started yet, which suggests there may be just enormous more selling in the stock indexes worldwide still to come. We haven't even seen the real start of it yet, because my mind, this kind of looks like a, you know, a huge neckline here, where we can see this as the big double top, 1, 2. And so, you know, another test here is, you know, not going to be friendly to the German Bourse, the DAX. Hong Kong, same thing. That's even more negative. I think I pointed out this drooping neckline where we connect the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and the right shoulder is so much lower than the left shoulder that when you connect this neckline, it's a drooping neckline, which suggests a market that will sell off, not only sell off, but sell off very, very quickly. So it suggests there's still continuing trouble to be, you know, seen out of China. We probably haven't, you know, come close to hearing the full story out of China, and that could have huge impact on everything going forward. And the Hong Kong market looks, you know, really, really terrible on the weekly, the daily. And so this just looks like a, you know, congestion before it continues going lower there. Take one final look at the UK market. It's a little bit stronger than some of the other ones actually, and it's been one of the weaker ones. So looks somewhat more positive than we've got, you know, kind of a big reversal here and a big reversal here in the UK. But again, you've got this, you know, huge kind of head and shoulders. You may have a pivot back to this neckline before at the 6100 before this thing turns down. So that's a snapshot of the indexes. Overall looks pretty bad. So I think we looked at a couple of charts here. Euro New Zealand going positive. We'll again have to see how everything closes. If this thing starts drifting toward the middle, it'll make the risk, you know, too untenable to get in. But this may look like an interesting trade for tomorrow, and you'll have to wait and see your email to see if. But this looks like I could see this going higher, and I like this for a lot of reasons that we talked about. New Zealand yen still looks like we've got triple top here, and certainly have to take a look at that at the close. Pound yen still got this inside day bar, looks negative. So my instinct tells me that head and shoulders and the dollar yen is still going to be in force and effect, and it will roll, and we'll just have to see when and how. But until then, the markets are just all over the place. Euro odd, to me, it looks like it's heavy. But you know, we'll have to see if, you know, if it penetrates under this neckline here. So the markets are just really volatile in a lot of mixed phases right now. Not a lot of clarity. We're just thrashing about, and again, my sense is we're going to get incrementally supportive in the euro. Let me just take a look at the dollar index real quick. So kind of the Australian dollar is holding up. This has been a massive down, you know, trend. If we are going to turn this around, we may need to do some further build out here, which wouldn't surprise me. And right now, it still looks mildly constructive here. So again, you're getting so many mixed things, cross currents going on in so many different areas. So the dollar index looks like it's, you know, looking heavy to me, which is kind of why I thought the Australian would go stronger and may still. So again, just it's hard to put so much weight in anything right now with the way the markets are trying to sort things out. There's so many, you know, you have global slowdown, you have deflation, but you have, you know, fiscal stimulus, and so many forces, you know, buffeting that I think, market participants are continuously weighing, which piece of information to look at. But this is the dollar index. We talked about this double top. We had another shot right at the double top area in which we had a failure, and this week we're seeing incrementally, increasing heaviness at this area. And I don't think this sets the stage for, one of these, but we may get something down here before it goes like this. So again, wouldn't surprise me to see the euro go back to 111 based on that. So a lot of mixed stuff going on here. Hate to be so uncommittal in this session, but you can see that the markets are certainly dynamic, fluid, and we can make a case for both sides of the trading ranges in the current environment. And this has been the concern from the beginning of the new year, and I'm just happy that I've done so well in what I think has been a pretty difficult environment. So clearly the Australian is way stronger than the New Zealand dollar. So you have to look at each one distinctively. So Australian kind of looks still okay, whereas New Zealand looks horrible. And so do we, which one has more weight? And right now, that's a pretty horrible looking, dagger reversal for the New Zealand dollar. So to me, New Zealand dollar looks like the one that's going to definitely continue to look the worst. So that's why Euro New Zealand looks positive. New Zealand yen looks negative. New Zealand dollar looks negative. And so it looks like the New Zealand pair is probably the one to kind of focus in, on tonight's trades. And again, it all is pretty correlated. So sometimes you never know which one is going to thrust more or better. Is the Euro New Zealand going to take off, better than the dollar versus the New Zealand? So if I put out a couple of trades, it's up to you whether you take, one or all, or just, put a lower risk on all. And since we don't know, my preference is always to take, all of the trades and then just put, 0.25% or, 0.4% or whatever it is on each individual trade. So I could certainly make a case going short New Zealand versus US dollar here, short New Zealand dollar yen, short, and then, long euro versus the New Zealand, which also says that New Zealand's going to go weak if we go long the euro against it. So the New Zealand looks like the big disappointment in today's trading activity. Could not, get much higher and is, turned down substantially. So that's about an hour into it. Why don't I open it up to some questions and some charts you guys want to look at? So Liz says, please can you describe the characteristics of an insurance day bar? Yeah, so what I look for, Liz, is, combination, in my trading strategy. So number one, I look for what I call the condition or the phase of the market. So let's just, take the chart we're looking at right now, because it's probably as best exemplifies on many fronts. So back here, I identified a double bottom, in the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And actually, when you figure this guy in here, it was a kind of a more obscure formation called a rectangular bottom, where you had the market bouncing around in a rectangular fashion here. So I identified this as a pattern, both a double bottom and a rectangular bottom. So once I've identified what I call the phase or the condition of the market, and what I mean by the phase is it going up or is it going down or is it turning? And in this case, it was turning. It was turning from bearish to what I thought could be mildly bullish. But I didn't, quite want to get involved in all this mess. So once I've identified the phase or the condition, then I look for, what I call an insurance day bar, which then confirms to me that once I've identified what I think, is the next direction in the market, I don't just jump in there, like I would anywhere in here, which would be completely arbitrary. I wait for, a one bar, which then suggests that now that I think my analysis is correct, Now I want to wait for that one coil that suggests, where to get in, where I can identify where the next momentum will be, and also how to assess my risk. And that bar came exactly here. And so again, to your question, an insurance day bar is either a key reversal where the market makes a new low and then closes on the high. And you can see here, both the low of this bar and the high of this bar was outside the previous day. So it took out the low of this, red candle, and it also took out the high and then closed at the high part of the bar. And, I've kind of loosely coined that as a key reversal, where the market washes out the weekends, it goes lower, and then it returns and then closes in the opposite direction right at the high end of the bar. Is that, kind of apparent to you guys? And so an insurance day bar can either be, to me, either a key reversal or what I call an inside day bar, where the high and low of the day is within the high and low of the previous day. And then ideally, it would be great to have a combination. We have a key reversal and an inside day bar. So then when, I put my buy stop above here, you've got this coil. Sorry, I messed up. You've got this, if I put a buy stop above here, once the market shoots out here, now you've got this huge coil action and it just blasts out of here. And that's really what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to put my pending orders at very strategic levels in the market so that when my pending orders triggered, it just blasts out of there and we never see that again and then just leaves the station. And that's exactly what happened here. So I put a pending order. I identified this reversal pattern. I identified this key reversal where, made a new low, close on the high, and then I put my pending order strategically above here, put my stop loss under the close here. You can see we never got stopped out. And then boom, I sat in this market for like 9 straight trading days. I took like 350 pips out of this market or something like that. And, I took not one tick of heat. Just constantly updating my stop loss, never got close to being, triggered. And we just sit in these trades. And that's what I look for, what I call an insurance day bar, where, the market is now, put on a bar that I can assess, where to get in the trade and also where to assess my risk. So conversely, now I saw a double top up here and didn't quite jump in there. And then saw these inside day bars right here. You can see that both the high and low of both these bars are within the high and low of this this big bar. And so, it's very easy to, then sneak in your sell stop under that insurance day bar or the, inside day bars here. So these are the inside day bars right here, 1 and 2, which are inside this bar here. Same thing here. You had a snapback, you had an you had an inside day bar at the top of a coil where I had this double top identified. I put my sell stop under here, let the market confirm me. So initially it went higher. If you're sitting in front of your screen, you're wondering where to get in this thing, if I should. If you got in early, now you're looking to get stopped out. I let the market do all that work and then come and just put me in this trade. So I missed out on all this stuff, but now I'm effortlessly put in this trade and now put in this. Here you have another inside day bar, broke above here. Now you have another key reversal, which is, my insurance day. Once I identified that this had, bottomed, once it got down here and it reversed, I said, okay, this is likely to support here, and I got long again. And here's another insurance day bar where you get a key reversal in the direction of the new trend. And now at the top here, I think I sent you guys, this was January 3rd, and I chickened out from, giving you this actual trade. But I saw that you had this kind of double, like small, not necessarily inside day bar because it's not inside that, but you had this double coil right at a double top area where you had, this and this. And, I put out a video, January 3rd, and I said, this is probably a great place to get short the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and I predicted this whole move down. I said we were, 3/4 of the way through this, double top right here, and that I then predicted this move, here, which it then put on. And again, it's not because I'm a genius. I just look at the price action, and then I've developed this methodology that ensures that I'm looking at the the situation correctly, and then requires a couple of layers of confirmation for me to get in, via the pending order and the the insurance day bar. And that's why I was saying with New Zealand, Canadian dollar, even though I see it lower and even though I see gold higher, I don't have the presence of my insurance day bar now. I don't have a key reversal or an inside day bar where I know once it breaks out of that coil, we're likely to head in the direction. It could do anything once it buffets around some of these trading ranges. So was that clear, Liz, about what an insurance day bar is, how to find it, what to key on? So to me, it's either a key reversal or an inside day bar or a combination, but it has to be in context of the direction and the pattern that I'm looking at. You can't just look at these things in a vacuum and say, okay, here's a key reversal, let's go short. Which you could, because this was actually a downtrend. But you have to be very aware that you're in some kind of support area here, and I like energy, and I need a lot of things to satisfy when I get in these things and when I don't. And hopefully over time you'll kind of get a handle on my thinking, and you'll incrementally be able to assess a lot of the stuff on your own. You're welcome, Liz. So Liz indicated that she understood that. Trent says, have you been through markets like this before, Mark? I've been trading for 30 years. I've seen it all, and this is nothing. This is kind of a picnic. I've been through 2008. We had a dot-com meltdown in 2000. I was actually working in the Wall Street trade centers, the World Trade Centers in New York, on October 19th, 1987, which was Black Monday, where the stock market went down 527 points. And at that time, the Dow Jones was only like around 2,200 or 2,400, which made it the biggest down day in the history of the market. It was down 24% for the day, which made it even a bigger one-day loss than the Depression. This was October 19th, 1987. And I was working for Bridgewater Associates in the World Trade Center. So Trent, your question, I've seen it all. And today is, it's just a little bit of noise. I love the volatility because I can typically read the tea leaves and, make sense of it. And then when it breaks my way, we'll make a lot of money. So I think this New Zealand dollar, obviously you had a lot of volatility. You've had a lot of noise in here last couple of days as this thing tries to sort its way out. But I think when you look at the prevalent position in place here, it's this pattern. And this was just noise right here within the pattern. And now we have this reversal day, which is consistent with my strategy. It's, my insurance day bar, which puts the risk reward on my side, tells me when to get in a trade and then how to assess the risk. So I know if I put a pending order here, under the lows, I want to see confirmation. I want to see the market continue lower. And then if it doesn't, then I want to put a stop loss strategically somewhere above the unchanged level here. So, it can, break lower, break a little higher, hopefully not stop me out and then go. But if it continues and I'm wrong, then I'll just get, stopped out here for an acceptable risk, and life will go on. You can see we got stopped out on, many trades last week, and I'm still up, 800 and some odd pips for the month, notwithstanding. So you take the good with the bad, and, what I look to do is identify trades like this, where we can just sit in these things for a week. And, we don't have to take heat. We don't have to worry about it. We just adjust the stop loss. And that's one of the reasons why I put a take profit, sometimes pretty high out of the range of these things, because I want to see where the market will go. I don't arbitrarily just want to get out. And so, that's kind of been the assessment here. But, the problem with this trade right here is you've got this big reversal bar here. So I don't like to see this stuff where you've got some noise to the left and it's got to clear through here. So you could still, still get some noise as this thing builds away. So I'll have to really assess where we are. I like the New Zealand pair. It looks like the weakest against the rest. So certainly we'll have to assess which looks best. And maybe Euro New Zealand is the best trade to take. Maybe New Zealand yen is the best trade to take. as we try and assess which pair is likely to, look the worst. So again, you don't have the resistance so close to where the New Zealand dollar yen is. So my sense is that this would be the better trade to take, the New Zealand dollar versus Japanese yen. You've got this coil, you've got this sharp bounce off the lows, and now, you've got this big path until you get to this reversal again. So my sense is New Zealand dollar versus Japanese yen to get short on that trade. Trent says, okay. So Don says, should we close pound yen? So those of us that got in on the dip, yeah, probably. Yeah, I bought this a couple times and I was actually successful buying pound yen. So Don asked, he obviously took some shots also, and now it's kind of fading and looking ugly. So I would certainly, clear the table of the pound yen. Again, I was, pretty unsure how this yen would look, if it was a fake out to the downside, versus the dollar yen. But to my mind, that head and shoulders still is in place, and we've got to expect the yen to go stronger against these currency pairs. So the pound has been pretty weak here, and if the yen gets stronger, then the pound yen is going to go down. And my sense is, that we've certainly got to get into this white space here, back under 166, before we can even think about this pair turning around. So, I would get short or get out of this pair if you're long, Don. Anything else? Zafar wants to check out New Zealand dollar versus pound. I don't know if we tried that before. I don't know if it's on my instrument panel here. I can give it a shot. I don't want to spend too much time looking for this thing. New Zealand dollar versus the British pound. I don't think this is even part of my instrument panel right now. I don't see it, so I'm sorry about that so far. I imagine might actually be interesting. I don't even know. I think we tried this the other day too, where I even looked at it on these, and I don't think it's even part of this. So it's pretty an exotic pair. It's not even offered, on NetDanya. So I'm not going to spend much time there. Sorry about that so far. But it looks certainly weak against a lot of these other currency pairs. Anything else we want to talk about? Any other chart? So again, I think these yen pairs look like they want to go stronger. We had a brief bounce off the bottom, some more than others. This kind of looks interesting. The euro yen looks like it's the strongest of them all, but I don't trust that. Even if it follows through tonight, it's going to come back in your face if the yen gets stronger. So my inclination is to stay out of that. I'd like to see even a key reversal here in the CAD yen, because my sense is even if this is going to go higher, we still need to do more work and get lower. So right now, CAD yen is somewhat stronger just because the Canadian dollar is weaker. So if I'm going to do the Canadian yen pair, looks like some yen pair. The first one would be New Zealand. It looks like the weakest of them all, and then pound yen, both short. So I like these for tonight. And then euro New Zealand, kind of long, but it may have some more risk depending on where it settles. And probably lastly, New Zealand versus US dollar, because you just have some near-term, a lot of price noise that this thing has to cut through. So that's what I'm looking at, here. Okay, Taya, Mark, can you explain which are the key time charts we should look at and why? Again, I start with the daily, see if I can see a pattern that lines up, and then try not to make it more complex than that. You can kind of get a paralysis by analysis. I go back and forth sometimes. I look for confirmations, and it was somewhat of a mistake because, I thought I saw, some confirmation in these yen pairs last night where I saw these nice, double bottoms and then inverted head and shoulder. This is the British pound. So, this is now the 4-hour time frame. And so it's a little bit confusing because here you get the double bottom, you get this, these things here which suggest this is an inverted head and shoulders, and who knows, it may be. I mean, so if you get a thrust above here, this could be the neckline, and maybe the pound yen is not a short. Maybe these yen pairs are still intact. I mean, the odd yen was the same. So, again, I saw this beautiful double bottom down here, this, inverted head and shoulders. But now, I see this, huge, reversal. And I really always pay attention to these reversals. They, make a, big difference. I mean, now you've got a reversal, the other way. So it's like you got one opposing the other. And now which one, you've got this formation that is intact. I mean, if you look at this just as a formation, you have to respect that this is a double top, a double bottom, an inverted head and shoulders. Then you reverse back to the daily, and you can see, like I said, I need to wait to where this thing closes. I got you guys out, and now it looks like it's going stronger again. So that's why the close is just so important to the way I look at these markets, and everything could change by the time I look at this thing, 3 hours from now, which is probably likely when I'm going to look at to send out the next email. So, typically these charts should be enough, the daily charts. Then I kind of go and look at the weekly and the monthly. So when I see the dollar yen and I see the pattern there, the double top, the head and shoulders, that always did keep me honest in terms of, even when the dollar was going up, I thought it would run into some headwinds, just because I saw that double top. So even up here, and when the market was, up here, I wrote an article saying that I saw like a 500 pip decline in the dollar yen 500 to 1,000, and we indeed did that. We came off 500 pips from the time I wrote that article on November 3rd, only because I saw this on the weekly. So I do keep an eye on everything. I try and focus in on the major patterns. Is the market telling me something in a major way, and then I need to be attendant. But remember, these weekly patterns take a long time to play out. So there may be a nice healthy move from here to here that you see on the daily chart, and then then it tells you to be careful up here on the weekly chart. So, I try and keep a lot of these time frames in my mind, and then, drill down sometimes, like when you have a news day like today, to what the internals look like, what the 4 and 8 hour. I try not to go less than that, because then you're just looking at pure noise and pure gambling. So right now you're looking again on the 8 hour, which is the Australian yen. And even though we have this double bottom down here, again, we looked at these long-term weekly charts, and they're still pretty much intact in terms of bear formations. And so to my mind, even though we had this thing, we had this false breakout, but these markets they break above the neckline, then they break down, and then if this thing were to now break above the neckline again, I certainly would be mindful of all this. So you have a lot of cross currents going on technically, and that's why I'm always changing my mind, or not changing my mind, but I reserve the right to get you guys out or whatnot when I see some some warning on the horizon. Just because, as we've seen just in the 2 weeks we've been together, we've just seen some monster moves, 300 pip moves, that are reversing 180 pips intraday here. So you're just seeing these giant ranges, these markets going from giant, one part of the range to the other, within the cadence of these longer term things. So I try and be mindful of all of this thing, but at the same time, you've kind of reduced it to some kind of simplicity where you can make a trade without looking at everything, and then all of a sudden you're gun shy and you don't know when to pull a trigger. And sometimes we're pulling the trigger too quickly, and we're getting stopped out. And just over time, my experience and the way I look at it, if you keep to the dailies, it should be good enough just to, make this a shorter answer to what you're saying. And then, consult your weekly charts at the end of each week. So, Friday, Saturday, I start going through my charts in a very detailed thing and see if I can't key on the longer term thing where I can see the longer term. But again, that's a little bit dangerous because it takes a long time to turn these big super tankers out in the ocean. It takes a long time to turn the markets around, and we may be able to take a 300 pip move out in a market that I think is going to go the other way. And that's why I'm so ambivalent in these odd yen, New Zealand yen. I wrote an article last week saying, go short New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. And today I'm saying to, my marketing partner, I don't know, if we shouldn't pull that article. I don't know if, that is, intact right now. So these markets are just putting on such huge ranges, but you just got to be mindful of the head fakes and, be attendant to the patterns. And I think that's really what I'm trying to alert you to. And it kind of occurred to me that we've been talking so much about patterns that some of you may not know what are the technical patterns to look at. And so what I would advise you to do is look at up any technical analysis website and just put price patterns in there. And you'll see everything that I talk about continuously, whether it be double top or descending wedges or symmetrical triangles. And it occurred to me that maybe I talk so much and I take so much for granted that some of you don't know which patterns to key in on here. I think over time when you get my emails, you'll see some of the more familiar ones, and then sometimes I'll throw in a more exotic one. But just go and do your own research as to price patterns. Start getting adept at being able to visualize these things. But I think where I separate myself from these textbooks is that I rely on a couple of layers of confirmation. I don't just see a pattern like I saw in that New Zealand dollar that we talk about and then just jump in, because there was substantial noise before it actually did turn around, and that key reversal was what alerted me as to when to get in and how to assess my risk. So, I've kind of created this multi-level arsenal to my strategy where, I don't only look at price patterns, but I look at price action within the patterns. I look at the price action within some of these trends. I know what I'm looking for, and I kind of try and stay out where I think some danger is. So it's really a combination. But if you look at these textbooks or whatever you choose, your mind will start getting alerted to some of the major patterns. And when you start seeing them appear on these longer term time frames, whether it be weekly or monthly, at least you can be alert to that. So when we look at those big double tops in the stock indexes that we saw in the weekly, you'll immediately be able to say, hey, this is an area that I need to be careful. Right now we talked about this symmetrical triangle, and again, I'll throw some exotic things at you once in a while. Sometimes I surprise myself when I can just, see these things within the mix of what looks like to be a lot of noise. So, here we had both ways where, and the markets are pretty amazing, where they form these symmetrical things. And, this thing was, you got, you actually got false breakout on both sides here. But the thing was still, kind of this triangle, and the market will give you a little head fake once in a while. But, if you got this key reversal right here when it burst out of this thing, and then the second one, it would have alerted you to a nice move here just by, virtue of identifying this triangle here. Now I can kind of see something going the other way. Let me just change colors for you. And, this looks like we kind of got to the apex. We talked about it all this week. And, this kind of look, I overdrew it here. So looks like we've got this. We got right to the top of that today. And interesting how it chose to resist right at the top of that. And maybe that's not a coincidence. And that could be the apex of this thing. And now, if we start dropping here, to the other side, that's going to be a key indicator. This 116 area on that weekly thing is just a big level for me. Once we clear that, it's going to be another huge signal for me. So you got to be alert to the way these markets put on these symmetrical. Here's another kind of rectangle top, if you will, or a multi, like triple top, quadruple top. You have 1, 2, and you remember, I don't believe in so many tops. Market makes 1, 2, 3 attempts, and on the fourth, that's not a good thing anymore. And this big key reversal alerted us to a nice move here. So just be alert to these things, certainly at the top and the bottom of these major ranges. How the market behaves at the top or bottom of major channels, and both to the price action and the patterns. So that was a long-winded answer, and I hope I answered that, Tay. So she said that's a great explanation, so it indicates that I made some dent in your understanding there. Trent says, what about my book? Yeah, I do have an ebook. Thanks for pointing that out, Trent. I actually did publish one of those, and for those of those you haven't, I kind of assume, because I think it's on our Facebook page. You can go to the Facebook page and sign up for it there. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, you should do that. I put all my updates on the Facebook page and whatnot, and you can also download my ebook there. If you can't get access, just send me an email, mark@thepatterntrader.com. And you're right, Trent, I did publish a kind of a methodology, and it includes some of the patterns I look at, but not all. It's not a comprehensive thing, Trent. So you may want to go and rejigger your mind around there's a website called the Pattern Site, SITE, by this guy called Bulkowski. And he goes into extensive depth about hundreds of different technical things that you might come across. And I reference that site occasionally. So I think it's called either the Pattern Site or just Pattern Site, the Pattern SITE, I think. So now that I think about it, that's one that is a good reference for people who want to get up to speed on a number of different esoteric or exotic patterns. I kind of keep it pretty simple, but sometimes I spot these exotic patterns, like I did in New Zealand dollar, US dollar, when it did this rectangle bottom. I hadn't quite seen that in a long time. So that's Zafar actually put a link to the Facebook group in the chat section there, so you guys can click it there. And thank you for that, Zafar. Any other markets? Anything we want to talk about? Yeah, Don put the link to the Pattern Site also for you guys. So thanks for helping me out here. I'm trying to think of everything while I'm chatting to you guys. So those, I think, will be extremely insightful to everybody. Even those who are a little bit more experienced can benefit by looking at the Pattern Site there. So any other comments? It's now an hour and a half into this session, so I think we covered a lot of territory tonight, and I'm just going to wait a couple, 3 hours for tonight's signal. So just know that it's going to be late. I'll put that up in the Facebook group that I'm going to be late again. But you really want to see, this is the Asian session. It's the quiet part, and now it's going to be very instructive to me to see where these things close, because that's just a huge part of the way I visualize and locate trades. So that's it for me. I'll wait another 30 seconds. If somebody else wants to pop a question or something else in there. Otherwise, I'll bid you all a great day, and we'll be back for another session tomorrow. And then I think the last one will be on Sunday. Liz, you're welcome. Wonderful to have you, and wonderful to have you all. So thank you again for attending, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.